Welcome to another edition of Danny's Hot Takes. Today we're going to be reviewing the Armies of Renown, Disciples of Belakor, from the Charadon Book 2, the Book of Fire. I'm joined today, my name is Danny, I'm joined today by John.
Hello.
And we're going to be going over this new Army of Renown. So, we're going to skip
on to your butts.
Yeah, we're going to skip right to the rules section here because everybody loves those. But go ahead and check out the Fluff. Fluff section is great as always. Some really interesting battles and stuff like that end up happening in the Charadon section. But mostly this book is rules. There's a lot of rules in this book. So I definitely felt like it was a good bang for your buck as far as the amount of rules that you get.
Unless you've already bought Faith and Fury.
Yeah,
That's a different conversation.
True. But you may not be able to buy Faith and Fury again.
Fair.
So we'll see how that plays out. Anyway,
down with that positivity. Belacor.
We got Bellacor here, guys. Belakor himself. All 360 points of him, 18 power level. You've seen his stat line on Warhammer Community. You've seen the Blade of Shadows and all of its disgusting glory. Yeah, God, he just really wants to tear you up. He's got Immortal Vigor, so he's got a 4-up invul save, and range attacks are -1 to wound him. He's got Shadow Form, so you don't get to ever reroll to hits against him, and he's -1 to hit. Melee, shooting, whatever, he doesn't care. He just wants to fight and stay in the shadows. And then he has the Lord of Torment aura, so an enemy unit within 6 subtracts 1 from its leadership and adds 1 to combat attrition. So don't fail leadership around that guy because you have a real good chance of running away. Then you have the Dark Master. While a friendly demon or Disciples of Belakor unit, excluding the vehicle units within 6 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll to hit roll of 1. So he has a 6-inch aura of reroll to hit rolls, which is great because it affects all of the guys in his specialist army. And then he has Spiteful Jealousy. If your army is Battleforged, you cannot select this model. You cannot include this model in the detachment. If that includes any other Demon Prince models, each time a model makes an attack that targets a Demon Prince model, you can reroll to hit and you can reroll to wound. So, Demon Princes, beware, Belakor is out hunting your head.
He does not like you.
He's the first, man. He doesn't share power. And then we have Disciples of Belakor, which is easily the most complicated specialist army that we've ever seen.
Just to go back to Belacor.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Here. Some real interesting things to note about his data sheet now, apart from all the cool stuff they previewed in Community. He now has each of the Chaos Gods keywords. Which becomes real important when we go through the Disciples of Belacor assembly instructions.
He also has, he's also a Psyker, so he casts 2, denies 1. I did not mention that either.
I think he's real good for 360.
Yeah, I think he's great for 360 points. Yeah, he's easily as good as any of the greater demons, probably better than most.
Yes.
To be totally honest.
Let me get a pen and paper so I can write down how exactly I'm supposed to form Disciples of Belakor army.
Okay, cool. All right, so first you have to have Belakor.
Okay.
He has to be your warlord. You can't take any named characters or Demon Prince models.
Throwing Scarbrand away.
Yep. If your army cannot include any Bloodthirsters, Lords of Change, Great Unclean Ones, Keeper of Secrets, Demon Engines, World Eaters, Thousand Sons, Death Guard, Emperor's Children, Chaos Knights, Titanicus Trachoris, Khorne Berserkers, Rubric Marines, Plague Marines, or Noise Marine units.
So pretty much anything that's a named character or has a specific mark already.
Yeah, more or less, or Greater Demon.
Yeah.
You can include more Chaos Cultist unit than Heretic Astartes units in your army in each detachment. Okay? You cannot include a second demon army or demon unit in your army that owes its allegiance to the same Chaos God unless your army also includes at least one demon unit that owes its allegiance to each of the other 3 Chaos Gods. You cannot include a third demon unit in your army that owes its allegiance to one of the Chaos Gods unless your army also includes 2 demon units that owe their allegiance to each of the other Chaos Gods, and so on. Bellacor and Heretic Astartes units are excluded when considering these considerations. So, if you want to take a second Khorne unit, you have to have one unit from each of the other Chaos Gods, and this is specifically just for demon units. Okay. These restrictions also apply to any units that can be added to your army using a demonic ritual ability.
So I think that makes it a little harder too. Is it
Sure.
really almost takes summoning out of it unless you're really specifically planning what you want to bring in.
That's right. That's right. Or you want like a suite of choices from like one god.
Yeah.
And it says, example, if you include a Khorne Demon unit, you cannot add a second Khorne Demon unit to your army unless you include one Tzeentch Demon unit, one Nurgle Demon unit, and one Slaanesh Demon unit. Okay, benefits. Okay, so we've done all of the restrictions. All the units in your army, excluding unaligned and building units, gain the Disciples of Belakor keyword. All units in your army with the Heretic Astartes faction keyword, excluding Chaos Cultists, gain the Legion Disciples keyword. All units from your armies with the Chaos Demon faction keyword gain the Demonic Disciples keyword. All troops from your army gain the Objective Secured ability. If a detachment contains any unit with the Chaos Demon faction keyword, it can use stratagems, relics, and warlord traits as if it were a Chaos Demons detachment. If this detachment contains any units with the Heretic Astartes faction keyword, it can use any stratagems, relics, and warlord traits as if it were a Chaos Space Marine detachment. Note, however, the detachment never counts as a Legion detachment, and you can never use any Legion-specific stratagems, relics, warlord traits, or psychic powers. Even if such a detachment only contained Heretic Astartes with the Black Legion keyword, it would not count as a Black Legion detachment. You cannot use Black Legion stratagems. You cannot give a Black Legion character a Black Legion warlord trait, etc. You have access to the Disciples of Belakor stratagems. Disciples of Belakor Psychers in your army can generate their psychic powers from the Noctic Discipline, which is the new discipline for Belakor and his buddies. Demonic Disciples characters do not gain a demonic locus. See Codex Chaos Space Marines. Codex Chaos Demons, not Chaos Space Marines. But instead gain the Locus of Shadow abilities described below. Legion Disciples from your army do not gain a Legion trait, but instead get the Disciples of Shadow ability as described below. So you'll get Locus of Shadows when a friendly Demon Disciples unit within 6 inches of this model. Each time a ranged attack is made against that unit, you cannot reroll the hit roll, and if it's more than 12 inches away, you're -1 to hit. It's not even like dense cover, it's just -1 to hit. And then Disciples of Shadows is that same -1 to hit, and each time a combat attrition test is taken for this unit, add 1 to the combat attrition test. So, unless you're below half, you'll never be failing combat attrition with that unit. Man, that's a lot of stuff to remember and to build your army. That's going to be kind of a tricky list to play, because you have so many different things you need to balance. Right now, of course, with Chaos Space Marines only having 1 wound, I think it's going to be kind of hard to build this army with a ton of Chaos Space Marine assets. I think it's going to be more demon-focused until they get a new book or they get extra wounds, or that's all rectified. So, yeah. But man, Locus of Shadows is great. Can't say that enough.
Having access to the Chaos Demon stratagems, really amazing too for Belakor, because you can give him Aura of Acquiescence, Locus of Grace, all of these other things that are kind of keyword locked to Slaanesh or Nurgle. You can heal him with the Nurgle stratagem. Like I said, him having those 4 god keywords is bonkers for what you can do to just turn him into a tank.
Sure. Can you fight twice with him too, or is that only infantry?
I will look that up while you very intelligently talk about the next thing.
Okay, so we have a Warlord trait. We've got Bellacor's Warlord trait. I will not. Secondly, I refuse to talk about any of this intelligently. You can't make me. You're not my supervisor. Let's see here. So in your command phase, select 1 friendly Disciples of Bellacor unit, excluding vehicle units within 9 inches of the Warlord. Till the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. So full rerolls to hit on a unit is really good. It's bonkers on demon units, which don't normally get rerolls to hit. So that seems really cool. And then he's got stratagems. He's got some good ones in here. So we got Shadow Pact for 1 command point. Use the stratagem in your command phase. Select 1 Mark of Chaos Legion Disciples infantry unit from your army that has not dedicated itself to a specific dark god. See Codex Chaos Space Marines. And select one of the packs below. Until the start of your next command phase, it gains the following benefit: Pact of Blood, +1 attack. Pact of Fate, 5+ info. Pact of Plague, +1 toughness. Pact of Excess, +1 movement, and +1 to advance and charge. All those are awesome. Those are all really good. So just different things that'll be excellent depending on who they go on.
Oh, and as I obviously knew the whole time, he can actually fight again for 3 CP.
He can? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's pretty brutal. You've got Demonic Boon. So use this stratagem at the start of the fight phase when a Legion Disciples unit, excluding vehicle unit, from your army that is within 6 inches of his friendly Demonic Disciples unit selected to fight until the end of the phase, add +1 strength to that unit, to that models in that Legion Disciples unit, and each time a model in that Legion Disciples unit makes a melee attack, an unmodified 6 automatically wounds. Man, that's really good too. Yeah, that's awesome. Man, that's really great on Possessed. That's really good on like any unit that can throw out a ton of attacks, like Chosen. That would be good on.
It's only in hand to hand, right?
Yeah. But like, man, you could combo up Shadow Pact with this and throw out I guess their Possessed aren't the same. I don't know. We'll see. And then we've got Legions of Shade. Use this stratagem at the start of your movement phase or at the start of your charge phase. Select 1 Disciples of Belakor unit from your army until the end of the phase. Models in that unit can move horizontally through enemy models. That's so good. It lets
Ridiculous.
it lets you fall back through models. It lets you like move through models to like screens for charging. It's really, really good. I thought the Legions of Shade were just going to be the ones talking about this ad mech army of renown, but apparently it's also a stratagem in this book. I
gotta say, I like that one with a deep struck squad of bloodladders and a banner of blood.
God, no kidding. They can go so far and like wrap a unit. They could wrap like a 20-man unit, no problem.
Yep.
All right, then we've got Mortal Boon. So use this stratagem at the start of your morale phase. Select 1 Demonic Disciples unit from your army that's within 6 inches of a friendly Legion Disciples unit, excluding vehicle units, until the end of the phase. Each time a Demonic Disciples unit takes a morale test, it is automatically passed. And you count as having passed the test with an unmodified 1, which triggers their banner, which means they get back D6 models. Cool.
That one is so good.
It's neat. That's a pretty fun one. And it's 2 CP, so it's not like super cheap.
It's not super cheap, but it means you can like almost like position yourself in such a way that if you start getting killed, you can then pop that and position your squad onto that objective marker you maybe just didn't quite reach.
Yep.
Or even just kind of some kind of repositioning to it. I really like the flexibility of that one.
It's really good. Yep, I agree. Draught of Terror. So use this stratagem at the start of the morale phase. Select 1 Demonic Disciples unit from your army. Until the end of that phase, that unit gains the following ability. Draught of Terror aura. While an enemy unit within 6 inches of this unit, each time a model flees from that enemy unit. If any models in the unit have lost any wounds, one model immediately gains 1 lost wound when a model flees. And if no models in this unit have any lost wounds, but is not at its starting strength, 1 destroyed model is added back with 1 wound remaining. Models back this way can be set up with an engagement range of enemy units that are already within engagement range. So it triggers every single time an enemy unit flees, so it can heal potentially multiple models or bring back from the dead multiple models. You can use it on Bellacor, and he can heal himself. Keep in mind he's also adding to that attrition test, so there's more likely that models are running away. Man, that's really cool and good. One of 2 ways you can heal him. You can also do it with the Nurgle stratagem from the Demon book as well.
Why does he have all the gods' keywords?
Because he's the first Demon Prince. He's got all their blessings. He was the first ever chosen.
You can fall out of love with someone.
It's fine. It's fine if he has those. He needs to have them. It's totally good. Chaos needs a boost. Blessings of Belakor, 2 command points. Use this stratagem in any phase. When a saving throw is made for a Disciples of Belakor model from your army against an attack is failed. The damage characteristic is reduced to 0. You cannot use this stratagem if Belakor is not on the battlefield. So, yeah, that's pretty great. Belakor can ignore a las cannon from the Chicken Walkers for free. Well, for 2 command points, that's totally worth it.
Or a harpoon.
Yeah, or a harpoon. Yeah. Oh, no. All right, so stratagems are all good. All of those are totally good. The Noctic Discipline, I think it's got such phenomenal powers. You've got Shrouded Step. It's Blessing. Warp Charge 6. Manifested, select a Disciples of Bellacor infantry unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. And just one model, not the whole unit. Remove the unit from the battlefield and set them up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from enemy models. If that unit remains stationary this turn, it is instead treated as if it had made a normal move this turn instead. Cool, so they get the jump for Warp Charge 6.
That's a really low warp charge.
Yeah.
And when you like instantly again, for me, what stood out for this was that Bloodletter Bomb we're used to seeing turn 2. Now we can do it turn 1. And then with the Banner of Blood combined with the stratagem to ignore enemy models in the horizontal plane, that's a really gross combo. Warp Charge 6 is not super hard to pull off.
No, it's really not. You've got Wreathed in Shades, Blessing, Warp Charge 7. If manifested, select one Disciples of Belakor unit, excluding monster and vehicle units, within 12 inches of the Psyker until the end of your next psychic phase. Enemy units cannot target that unit with ranged weapons unless that unit is the closest eligible target, or to the firing model, or it is within 12 inches of the firing model. So really great way to keep your more fragile units a little bit more protected. I could see this going on like Havoc units. It's probably pretty good on them, or like Flamers, or yeah, because you're going to have to shoot the Beasts of Nurgle first, of course. All right, Paul of Despair, Malediction, Warp Charge 7. Select an enemy unit within 18 inches invisible to the Psyker. Roll 3d6. If the result is greater than the enemy unit's leadership value, select one of the following to apply to that unit for until the end of the next psychic phase. You can make them lose an aura. You can let them not perform actions, or they fight last. So really great toolbox power there. It lets you do a bunch of different stuff. Making somebody fight last is very good. Making somebody getting rid of a crucial aura is also important. So there's some really great stuff there. It's really good. Like let's say you're playing against Death Guard, flying over and trying to get rid of the Foul Blightspawn's aura so that your Bloodletters can attack like normal would probably be a pretty big swing.
So I expect to see this one in most lists just because like you have so many choices of what to do with it.
For real. Yep. You've got Void Slivers. So this is a Witchfire, Warp Charge 5. Select an enemy unit that's visible within 12 inches to the Psyker. Draw a line between any part of the Psyker's base and any part of the selected model or their hull if they don't have a base. The selected model's unit takes 1 mortal wound. If it has 11 or more models, it takes D3. Each other enemy unit the line passes through takes a mortal wound, or if they have 11 or more models, they take D3. Meh, it's pretty bad. It does some mortal wounds, but it's, I don't know, it's super low range, really restrictive targeting.
Situationally okay.
Even then, like if a unit's 11 models, who cares if they take D3? It could be cool against like if they had like a line of characters or something like that, and you can nuke them all for a wound or something. I could see that being cool. Anyway, then we got Penumbral Curse. So this is a Malediction, Warp Charge 7. Select an enemy unit within 18 of the Psyker until the start of your next psychic phase. Each time an enemy model in that unit makes a melee attack, subtract 1 from the attacks to wound roll and reduce the armor penetration by 1. So, hey, Blood Angels, you don't get Assault Doctrine or charging benefits. That's amazing. That's a big nerf for a really good assault unit. -1 to wound hurts. So I think that's a great one. Warp Charge 7 is hard, but as we'll talk about a little bit in the overview, I think you can get around that pretty reasonably. Then we've got Betraying Shades, Warp Charge 6. If it manifested, select an enemy unit within 18 invisible to the Psyker. Select up to 6 models and add together the number of attacks that they get. Roll a number d6 equal to that total. If you passed it with 11 or more, add 1 to each result. If it's for each 6 plus, they take a mortal wound. So on units with like a ton of attacks, like I don't know, like Orc Boys, that kind of stuff, like I think you could do a decent amount of mortal wounds. It's not a bad power. This one's fine. Like it can really do a lot of work against units with a ton of attacks. So Like Death Shroud, for instance. Probably pretty good against them because they have so many attacks.
I don't like that you're pulling all your examples from my army.
What's an army that you don't play with a bunch of attacks? We talked about orcs already.
Yeah.
Like Gene Stealers have like 4 attacks a model, that kind of thing. That could be kind of cool. But yeah, totally a fine power. Does work. So let's talk about this list overall as a whole. Like we talked about a little bit earlier, I think that it's probably like some of the Chaos Space Marine stuff is not the greatest, especially since you can't pick things that are good, like Noise Marines. I think that those would excel in this kind of a list, but you're not able to pick them, and that's okay because there's some other options that you can take. I primarily see Disciples of Belakor as being a demon army at this point in time, with some shooting that you can add in from Chaos Space Marines. I think Havocs and Obliterators are natural choices. I think that some of the other like shooting units, like you can take some vehicles if you want to, which is kind of nice in Demons to have some gunboats. But mostly, I think you're just going to take a lot of like Chaos Space Marine infantry or beasts that are very hard to take down, and you can put them anywhere on the table, like Nurglings, that kind of stuff. John, what do you think?
I mean, you don't even have to worry about those units being too squishy, because you can protect them through strats and powers.
Yeah, totally.
And really, like, where this is a giant winner is Bellacor, and how he can be buffed based on this. Like we've already talked, he can literally be a target for the majority of the Demon Codex's powers and stratagems.
Right.
So, like, just having this combat monster is -1 to hit, you can do a stratagem to give that entire unit -1 attack. Yep. Right? And just, you can heal him up with Nurgle powers. You can kind of cast all these powers on him. I think that makes him, like, super, super good. And then Demons, where we've always, like, yeah, they've been good and they're powerful psychically, and they have tools to take care of like high armor things through separate phases. Mm-hmm. The ability to soup in those Obliterators, the Havocs, heck, I know it's a meme from 2 years ago, but Mutilators in this list, sure. I feel are really good. Just for that small unit deep strike to kind of drop in that aura.
Yeah, Possessed would not be bad either, right? Like
Right, for sure. I'm excited. I mean, I'm going to build a Disciples of Belakor list because I think there's a lot of play to it. It's not as... And I think, like, any good Demons list is, like, when you look at it, you shouldn't, as your opponent, like, right away understand how it works and what it's going to do. But I think with a lot of practice and a lot of very intent unit choice and placement, it's going to be a real bad time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Bloodletters in this list
are very amazing. Good. Yeah.
Even Pinks, Changecasters, just anything that kind of, again, getting around to really buffing Belakor. I mean, heck, you don't even have to start Belakor on the table. Like the Demon Stratagem, you can put him in Deep Strike.
Sure.
So, like, just there's so many cool things you can do. And I think this is really, rather than a Disciples of Belakor list, this is kind of like a Chaos Demon supplement to really prop up that book until they get a new one.
Yeah, I mean, I think things like Beasts work really well in this list because the Locust is so good. Mm-hmm. I think the other thing to remember too is when we talked about like the Noctic Discipline, you can see that a lot of them have Warp Charge 7. But the nice thing is you can use the Locus of Conjuration, I think, is the one from Tzeentch. It lets you reroll psychic tests close to the bearer, so you can do that on Belakor, or you can do it on a Changecaster, and then you can reroll all your psychic tests within 6 inches of that guy. So you could really make sure that these powers are going off.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a couple of really strong builds out of this. I think you're not going to see a ton of variety out of Disciples of Belakor list. But you're absolutely going to have to know how to take down Belakor.
Yep. Have a plan.
Have a plan for Belakor, because if you don't, he will wreck your army. And if you do take him down, the rest is just Demons and Havocs.
Yep.
So
you can take that.
Yeah, you can take that. We know you. You're good.
You've done this before.
You know what you're doing. Just kill Belakor.
Yeah. All right, cool. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited too. I think this is a great addition for the Demons army. And just Chaos in general. I think it's a great choice. So If you enjoyed this content, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Click the notifications button to make sure you don't miss out on our mediocre content that we release whenever we get a new book.
Your dogs love it.
They do. So play it when you're at work. Also, you can check us out on Grim After Dark, which is at 10 p.m. every Tuesday.
Live on the Frontline Gaming Network.
That's
on
right.
Twitch, YouTube, and the Frontline Gaming Facebook
It's
page.
like everywhere,
It's
John.
everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't avoid us.
Yeah.
Try.
Just don't even try it. Just watch. Obey.
Consume.
Yeah. Or on our podcast Mob Rules, which we release monthly. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.